Now, once your minimum economically viable offer, your MIVO, is selling, and you've proven that your critically important assumptions are valid, you're in good shape. But you're not done.
Oh, you got to make your thing.
Well, yeah, you've got to make your thing. And, your MIVO is the thing that is selling. Yeah. So that's like the minimum thing that will actually work. But the iteration process keeps going after that. And it's a process called incremental augmentation. And augmentation is basically a fancy word that says making it better. And incremental just means you do it a little bit at a time.
And how is this different than the wigwam thing?
It's the same process. The thing is, you're taking something that's already successful, that's already selling, and you're continually adding things to it to make it better. So, for example, think of something like actually, car companies do this all the time. They launch, think of the first Honda Civic. Not as nice as the Honda Civics are right now.
True.
Okay, but they took something, they made something that works, something that sells, and that they know sells,
right?
And then every year they release what they hope to be an improvement upon it. That's incremental augmentation. You can take something and, continuing with the iteration process, you make it better and better and better and better and better. The personal MBA reading list is my example of this. When I look back on the first reading list for the personal MBA, it is crappy. crappy. Over the years, there have been 5 iterations since then, and it's gotten a heck of a lot better. More time, more effort, greater structure, easier to understand. All of those little changes make it better. And you can take something that's working, and if you continue to iterate, you end up making it better and better and better. Look at something like Apple's iPod right now. They're in the classic one is in 6 generations, and the Nano has gone through 3 or 4 generations, and they keep improving on things that are already working, and in doing so, they make it even better.
Got it.
And so you're using iteration to add new benefits or add new features or other things people may want. You're making the diner better,
right?
Which is good, but doing it through the iteration cycle. The reason that that's important is because it allows you to minimize the risk of doing something that doesn't work. So if you're making improvements on an iterative basis, you get to go through the watching and the ideation and the decision and the measuring cycle. And if something doesn't work, you can always roll back.
Yeah, cool.
But if you and this is actually something that happened with Microsoft in Windows XP versus Vista. Instead of iterating on top of XP, which was already working and making it better, they said, we're going to throw out Windows XP.
And do something totally cooler.
Exactly.
Right.
We're going to build something awesome from scratch, which we'll revisit this example again in systems to talk about why it didn't work. But that approach is far riskier.
Right.
You're doing something new, something you haven't validated or proven that actually works before. And with any risk, it's like developing something new. You're not sure if there's a market. You're not sure. Right. You have all of those problems again because it's not built on top of something that already works.
Makes sense.
So incremental augmentation is really great because you can continue to invest time and effort and resources into a project to make it really, 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 really awesome. And then, the awesomer it gets, the more people want it. People do, particularly for things that people use a lot, people want upgrades.
Yeah. Probably the more you'll hang on to the customers you already got.
Exactly. So you can keep on improving things over and over and over again, and that ends up being a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, one caveat.
Okay.
And that is incremental augmentation can only take you so far. Okay? So you can improve things, but you can only improve things to a certain point.
Okay.
As long as the same structure of what you built works, you can continue to improve it. But after a certain point, sometimes you have to restructure in order to improve or to do something differently in order to make something better.
Okay.
So
like the change would be so small it's not going to be worth all the money.
Or it's a huge structural change. So for example, the switch from camera companies developing, like Polaroid, classic Polaroid camera, to some of the newer cameras, that is a platform change. They're doing something fundamentally different. You can't incrementally augment your way to that.
Right.
It's something totally new. And so there is a time and a place for developing something that's never been seen before. The thing is, that thing will have economic values. It will have critically important assumptions. It will have all of these new value creation things attached to it. And so you can't assume that everything that you validated with your first one
is going to hold true.
Like in the case of Windows Vista, you can't assume everything is going to hold true from your first one. You're developing something new. You have to validate it in the same way.
Okay.
So focus on improving what you've got, but if there's something that you can do that requires a structural change.
Changing the market, really.
Yes, but you have to reprove it.
Okay.
And that is incremental augmentation.